Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher.
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Wyatt Turk.
Yo, what's up?
Demeki.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
And Zach Thacker.
Hey, how's it going?
Close enough. Great job.
Yeah.
I can't.
I was like, is your last name Thacker?
No, it's Thacker, TH.
Man, Thacker's pretty cool, though, too.
Thank you.
Just tell Kenny to shut up, Boucher.
You did a great job, Rob. I wasn't even being mean to you or anything.
Kenny, it's good to have you back. We missed you last week.
Thanks, man.
I have a serious question to ask you, though.
Yes.
Did you sign any NDAs while you were gone?
I probably did. I mean, I flew Southwest. So probably some pretty serious ones.
Pretty hefty one.
Yeah.
I thought they were the good ones.
No.
In my brief flying career.
I mean, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, yeah, they're amazing.
They're the type of airline where like the ticket lady will be like they'll like tell you how to scam the airline.
Yeah.
Tight.
Yeah.
Like when I went to California, she's like, you could have bought like the cheapest ticket possible and still sat on the front of the plane, right? And I was like, yeah, but that's sleazy. And she was like, okay, well, maybe
this is Southwest, so
yeah.
Yeah, because United's the Fight Club of the skies.
I love that. That's awesome. Oh man, even the like flight attendants are mad sassy, like on Southwest flights. Like just like the stuff they crack me up, honestly. They're not like mean or anything. Like there's just like the shit they say is like so like crass, not like the normal style you expect. Like I enjoy it, but I am also from Florida, so. So we do have Demeki and Zach. Zach, first time on the podcast. We have lots of behind the scenes content already filmed up to this point. With some cool topics, some cool tactics. Definitely want to check that out on Patreon. Front loading with an advert right now, so I'm not going to make you guys like anxiously await our big advert. We're on Patreon. Finally, go hook us up. We need money.
We got t-shirts.
There's something there. Like I know we put a lot of thought into writing it down. So there's some words that Rob wrote up on that page.
Well, what it doesn't say is we need like 100 patrons, so then we can be like a real patron, and I think it likes us. Yeah,
like apparently we had all these great ideas, and then it was like, you are hobos, and you don't get to have access to these cool things until you've proven that you actually make us money. And we're like, God damn it.
Yeah, so it was a give and take.
Give and take. But we do have Demeki, we do have Zach. This is barring Mike Haspel, who is frantically painting models for this weekend's Vegas team tournament. This is the whole team, right? And so we're going to talk about that and the meat and potatoes of the show. We're going to go over some lists, what to expect. This is going to be one of the biggest events probably of the year because when it's 5-man teams, that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be pretty crazy. A lot of big players, big teams going to show up. So we're going to have that conversation. Rob's going to walk us through a tabletop marketplace as always. And we're going to accelerate the pace of this by handing it over to Wyatt. We're going to roll out to his Cave of Wonders for Would You Rather.
Would you rather be part of the Munsters or the Addams family?
I feel like one of those is more well known than the other.
Depends on how old you are. It's a trick question. He's trying to figure out how old you are, Doug. Question. We're talking like TV Raul Julia or movie Raul Julia Addams family, like
it's whatever Addams family you want.
Okay, that Addams family. Okay, that's interesting. So I can pick the movie version, but I have to. But I'm a family member.
Yeah. Like you don't replace. Like you're not like suddenly.
I'm extended family.
Yeah. Like you're not Uncle Fester. You're just like a part of the family.
Cousin Florida man.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, am I fucking like randomly afflicted with some Addams Family like thing?
I don't know. Some of them seem pretty normal. It's
Yeah,
like it's sight unseen.
but like not the extended family. They're all weird. Like the core family all physically look normal, except their extended family shows up. There's literally a hand monster. That's a family member.
Even the car has a name.
So like the genie, is it going to be like? I'm asking before I select because I need to know how.
I told you it's sight unseen.
Sight unseen. Now now this is my new life, right? So I slide into this new reality. Is it like 2021? Like Christina Ricci's like like she's as old as she is right now in 2021, but she still wears the Addams.
Yeah, why not?
But there's an Addams Family too in 2021 that has Charlize Theron in it. So
That's true.
Who does she play though? Who is she? What character?
I don't know.
I mean, if they're gonna get her, it's probably Morticia.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
You're right. Now
Yeah,
we're talking.
Wasn't that one CG? That one was CG though. It wasn't live.
She is Morticia. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be animated. Yep.
Am I third? Okay. Am I on Gomez's side of the family or Morticia's side of the family?
Man, I don't. It's sight unseen.
Well, I mean, I have like some.
We're not going that deep into the weeds on this, man. Like you're part of the family.
Okay, I'm part of the family, but I am from Florida, and I'm rolling the dice that I'm on Gomez's side of the family, and it's married into. Therefore, I can lay some.
I had a feeling that's where you were going. But even being from Florida, that would still probably be okay. Where
Man, you're
your head was
banking on
going.
like a whole lot of like moving plates on this.
Yeah.
Fucking
I'm gonna roll this dice, and so worst case scenario, it doesn't play out the way I want, and I'm in the Addams family doing weird shit. Okay,
All right, cool.
I picked the Addams family. The monsters are dumb looking.
Yeah, but the Munster's wife is just as hot, if not hotter.
Then Charlize Theron. No,
I mean, in
Well, I'm
50s
saying-
terms.
Yeah, I'm talking about like back in the day, like
Yeah.
I'm Google imaging it right now because I'm trying to make up my mind.
He's like hitting in the enhance button.
Yeah.
I don't know. They both have pros and cons. Like I kind of like the Musters. Like the grandpa is like the super cool vampire guy.
Mhm.
Like I like to have him as a grandpa. He seems pretty dope. But then like the Addams family get into all sorts of hijinks. But like people are constantly trying to like steal their money and everything, and I feel like that's super stressful.
yeah, the Addams
Like-
family is also kind of like they're almost like Cenobites from Clive Barker's universe because like they're almost like they're like revert, like they're almost like bad things are good things to them. You know what I mean?
It's a little weird. Yeah.
So like they also like they live that life, like that truth, you know? Like cutting the heads off of roses make roses more beautiful. Things that seem scary are fun, like to them. So they have like almost a superpower innately as a family trait. Which family has Dracula? I guess it's the Munsters.
It's
Munsters.
the Munsters. Yeah.
They also have
I
a
don't have it.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's it.
They do have
I
some
would choose the
classics.
Monsters.
I don't know. I pick Addams Family. That's my final. I'll let you guys figure out where you stand.
I think I'm going to go with Munsters because they had a cool car. It's all about the car.
Yeah, it is. That's
I
nothing
think
to do.
I'm gonna go with the 1991 Addams Family because I had
Incredibly
things for
specific.
Christina Ricci.
Like a split
Christina
right
Ricci.
down the
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm getting Charlize Theron or Christina Ricci close to my orbit, and I'll be happy with that.
Jeez.
Zach, what do you pick?
Oh, the Monsters. Yeah, I think it was the Monsters.
Damn, I'm
It seemed a
the,
bit, I don't know, it seems a bit more lively, a little more laid back.
it's definitely more laid back in the Munsters house.
Yeah,
Because you're right. There's some serious shit going on in the background
Yeah, there's
of
some
the Addams
weird,
family's
like,
life.
Home Alone-esque stuff. Which, by the way, I think all that stuff in Home Alone would have actually killed people
Oh, yeah.
or maimed them.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
I couldn't imagine getting hit by like a paint can coming down from a banister and living. while falling downstairs.
I'm pretty sure these are like
Electrocuted,
40-year-old men who
fire.
fell down the stairs like 15 times in one night.
Like, you remember that scene, dude? Like, the one guy got electrocuted and we saw his skeleton.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. That's
Like,
It's true.
like, he got deaded.
I mean,
the
that's
sound, the sound he
execution.
made too when he was
Yeah.
getting electrocuted. It's great. I
Yeah, we
love it.
learned
That's
it
my
from-
favorite part.
Yeah, at like a very, very early age, you can get electrocuted and still live. That's what we learned.
Yes.
So you're right. Like I was like struggling to make the link. I was like, oh, I guess a lot of stuff that happens in an Addams Family house is very Home Alone-esque. Yeah, you're right. Damn.
It sure is. There's like monsters in the toilet. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, like if I'm going to the toilet, I'm trying to find
That's-
comfort and
that's a no-go.
relaxation. Yeah, not like something popping up out of my toilet.
I don't want none of that.
I mean, you could just poop on the floor and cousin it will just walk right over it and it'll probably disappear.
Good point. Now,
I think we've talked too much about this.
no,
They didn't.
poop is the conclusion to all of our points. So
Yeah.
thank you, Tameki. You've brought us
You're
back
welcome.
to the show.
There's probably some spiders in there with the Addams
Great
Family
transition.
toys.
Yeah, they eat spiders. So Rob, you want to do some news for us? I know it's a clickbaity day.
It's a masterful baiting affair. Wait, what? So I think, I mean, how much do we want to get into this NDA? I mean, I feel like a lot of people have talked about it. Just, hey, go check out the article.
Yeah, we have it.
Right.
Rob went into it at length in the after hours, so you can see in the after hours he goes in real deep. There's a lot of we had a lot of viewer interaction on the subject, and everyone weighed
Yeah.
in here. And Rob does have an article, so you could just direct people to the article and do your news.
That sounds good. All right. So obviously the big news of the day was the rumored, air quotes, not really rumored, but I have to kind of say that, NDA that GW came out with for content creators. That, it's definitely worth checking it out. It's over on Spiky Bits, just Google Games Workshop NDA. It'll probably come up towards the top, I imagine. But it's an interesting document. A lot of people have a lot of things to say, as they do whenever it comes to Games Workshop and, any sort of IP or law or anything like that. There's a lot of people with opinions. Some are correct, some are not correct. But I think a lot of people can also read this document with just, plain English and be like, I don't know if I wanted to say that, sign that. I think the one thing that a lot of folks talked about the most that they personally didn't like about the document was the fact that you have to pay GW's legal fees, just in general. Now, that being said, there was a lot of outrage about the whole IP thing, that they changed some policies. They didn't actually go after anybody. There has been litigation since then, not for content creators, against some 3D artists that are making probably some one for one miniatures, and they got caught, and they had to settle up with GW. But there's no point even talking about that because they were clearly in the wrong, and they found out. So yes, GW is out there doing things. They're going after people still, but in that regard, they're going after the people that are legitimately in the wrong, at least in my opinion. So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind when you're out there perusing the internets. Listen to the all the experts, so to speak. New release wise, this week will be the second, third, I can't even know anymore, wave of orc releases. So the kill rig's coming out. It's $125. It's a cool looking model. It's got some very useful rules in game, but unfortunately they're allocated 5 per store, at least here in the States, which is going to make getting them probably pretty tricky for a lot of folks, which is unfortunate. Mazrog Scragbag.
Is that your guy, Wyatt?
Scragbag.
Yeah,
That's your guy.
he's a guy.
He's the guy.
He is the great white squig, and that model is actually allocated 2 per store.
Get the fuck out of here, GW.
Ooh.
Ugh.
$50 miniature.
This is about to be a Black Friday Walmart situation.
That's actually, so I didn't know his price until right now. I'd actually say that's a really good value for his model, because it's also it's a dual kit. It can make him, or it can make the generic boss on Swigasar So
It's a
it's going to
dual
have
kit.
it's going to have a wealth of bits. It's only $50. Like for a kit that big, like that's
Yeah, I'm
good
actually
value.
shocked by that price.
I mean, like the Mega Boss for Age of Sigmar is 40, and he's just like a guy on a 50 mil. Whereas this dude is like, is he on one of those like monstrous cav bases, or is it like an 80 mil base like Daz? It's like
I don't
I
know,
couldn't
actually
tell
not
if
sure
it was
what it comes
circular or ovoid, but he's a big model.
Mm-hmm. No, he's chunky and he looks cool. Like I would just think it'd be fun just to paint him personally. But if he's the size of something like one of the Primarchs or Abaddon or something, those are 60. So in theory, that's a value. I don't know because I don't have it in my hot little hands, but we'll definitely get one and see how much customization and things we can do when it does come out. Also coming out this week for the orcs was the Pain Boss model. It's more of a Beast Naga kind of look to them than the traditional greenskins, but I kind of like the little IV bag and that's a squig and hanging from the pole. And I think he's got that Grot Orderly on wheel.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. Then there's a whole bunch of stuff going up on direct order, MTO, etc. I think the obviously we've talked about a lot on here. The Joy Toys are going up. They will be $100 for the set.
Yo, them Joy Toys looking good.
They do look good. They do look good. I'm glad GW came out with them, doing a larger release because Joy Toy was only putting them out in China.
Did I see this right? That it's going to be just like the Bandai thing where it's like like a year-long pre-order?
I think it's only 180 days, 6 months.
So that's...
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's pretty standard for their MTOs, about 6 months.
Yeah, I guess if like you're a toy collector, that seems pretty standard hat. But for me, I'm just like, eh.
I did order that Snake Eyes 1/6 scale miniature in December. I was supposed to get it in July, so that's 6 months, and then it actually got delayed to August. So it's about right, I guess. And that's from Hasbro. So those are going up on pre-order. That's going to be a 1 week pre-order from GW. It looks like they're also going to have some of the McFarlane figures, the ones that already came out. But if you want the new McFarlane figures that were announced, they are actually on pre-order over on Amazon. You can find the links over on Spiky Bits.
Isn't there an orc?
There's 3 orcs plus a artist proof.
Need it.
And they're on Amazon right now for $20 each. There's a Gene Stealer, a Yamagirl Stealer, which these figures look amazing. There's a Reaver and a Reaver artist proof. I think that's all 8. Anyways, there's 8 of them coming out. So check that out too. And the Nurgle plushie also apparently is going up for order for it's $20 on GW's site as well. So if you're into plushies, the first of hopefully maybe.
They should have been doing this shit forever, man. Like, there should be a plushie of everything, a toy of everything, like for years.
Yep. We've a series of editorials. The second one's going to be out this week. Depends on the news cycle. But we're talking about how GW's product strategy is kind of changing by a actual product strategist for another company, and how they're pivoting from basically a widget company to a membership kind of company, which is advantageous as well. But one of the things that also is good for these type of companies is to, like, we all have piles of shame or piles of future success, right? But at some point, we're just like not going to buy stuff because we're like, we still got all this other stuff to put together. So GW is actually smart by coming up with all these other things to sell people, like Nurgle plushies, pre-painted Joy Toy figures, and all done as special orders, all done through licensed partners. So they're actually getting very smart about selling us more things
selling and also selling us safely, like pre-order, a safe.
So I play into that just-in-time manufacturing that we talked about, Rob.
Yeah, I haven't done much with that video, but just in time is definitely being revamped out there right now. It's an interesting time, very interesting time. I do want to talk about some other stuff real quick, not necessarily all G-dubs. The Exemplar wet palettes went up on Kickstarter from Game Envy, and I did a video review of it. I'm really excited about that product because, you know, at first I was like, oh, great, another web pellet. Yay. And but I was like, all right, man, what's different about this? And he's like, I got them. I'm going to send it to you. I was like, oh shit, you got it already? He's like, yeah. They actually just got them in to the warehouse according to his Instagram. So like they're ready to roll. If you back this thing, you're probably going to have it by Christmas time, which is just incredible when you start thinking about it, where we are in the world, COVID and stuff. But it's really cool. The paper's super thick, very thick, double C's. And I can mix paint on it. Super love it. It's got watertight and airtight seals, and also a little kind of pressure valve. You can just kind of keep it open to get a little bit more air in there to keep it from like molding up. I actually left it open just to kind of see. I can't smell, but I'm going to make somebody else smell it and tell me if it smells like mold, because it's been up there for about a week now. So I was pretty excited about that. So check it out. The price is right. I think it's like one for 30-ish bucks, two for 50. Kind of crazy when you start thinking about it. Just as a package deal, ready to roll out the gate with all the stuff. And I think he did a stretch goal of a portable paint cup. It like it's collapsible.
I have those.
It looked like it was sturdy. I haven't tried it out, but watching the video, I was like, that actually looks pretty sturdy. Like it wouldn't, collapse upon itself. Because the last thing you need is paint water going everywhere all over your desk. Water's probably recoverable. You start getting like paint everywhere. Oof. Nobody wants that. Also, Cromlink's been doing a lot of previews for a big Orktober release. I think they're putting out a big Stampa-esque model, and I think that's only limited to like 100 or 200 copies. So if you're interested in something like that, definitely scoop that up early bird style really quick. We talked about the Orcs allocation for Games Workshop, which is kind of unfortunate, but kind of a sign of the times we're in. And Hardcore Miniatures has their Rogue Trader team on pre-order for till the end of the month, I think, for September. Yeah. And what that is not Firefly models converted over to look like 40K. Not at all. So if you like Firefly, you want to check these out because it totally is. But they're kind of redone in 40K style. So they're pretty fresh. I was really smitten with them. I was like, oh, they did these in a good style. I like them. So hopefully I can get a video together of that very shortly. But now is the time to order them if you're interested in getting them at a good price. I think that is the majority of the stuff. I feel like I'm missing something, and I hate that. I hate when I feel like, oh, hey, forgot to flush the toilet.
You said October. Is there anything else for October?
Is there? Oh, there is. Pop Goes the Monkey has a big October promotion coming out very, very soon. Going to be a couple different models and some really cool looking stickers. So if you're into stickers, just stick them on your bags or your army boxes or the random
an actual
shit behind
October
your desk.
sticker.
Yeah, now you can have an actual October sticker too. So I think those are. I want to say they're coming in boxes. If you just order something, you get one, but I'm not exactly sure.
I showed off like a cell phone pic on my stream the other day of some sneak peeks, close-ups of some stuff.
Nice.
October is going to be popping.
Doesn't Artel usually do something for October also?
They were previewing some stuff. I forget exactly what because I haven't edited the article yet, but there is some stuff on the way from Artel as well.
Oh, sick.
We should have a fresher look at that very, very soon. I'm definitely forgetting something, and I will remember at some point when it has become irrelevant. But yeah, definitely check out that article about the NDA that GW may or may not be forcing content creators to sign going into the future. Did you just
throw up a little bit when you said that?
Nope.
Maybe it's the Black Templars. Are you forgetting that? Anything about the Black Templars?
I really didn't want to rehash the previews from Gen Con, but I think we know. I will give you guys a little bit of a spoiler. Everybody knows that Hellbrick is coming, and it's based on the artwork from Mark Gibbons that is older, 2003, 2004-ish. If you want to find it, go Google it. He also did artwork from Grimaldus, and there's probably a Grimaldus coming. So if I had to guess, he looks pretty fresh.
I mean, the memes that have come out of that are just on point.
Oh, they're great. I love them all.
Yeah, Evan Valdek is a G when it comes to making those memes. I gave him one the other day.
He's a meme factory. Yeah,
he kind of is. Because I keep seeing this Black Templar launch box, and I was like, yo, does it make me a boomer if every time I see them say launch box, that I think of lunchbox, and I just want to see the Templar thing with like a handle and a little like gotta go purging thermos next to it.
I mean, I would pay real hard-earned dollars for all faction OG 90s era lunchboxes with thermoses inside.
Yep.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Plastic
Were
one.
they still metal in the 80s or the 90s?
Nah, they were like plastic.
I think they were plastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, they just had
It had like a picture. It just had like a picture.
It's a sticker. I think it was like just a glorified sticker.
It was just a sticker.
oof.
I mean, bro, tell me you wouldn't buy one right now. You're like,
I would.
bring that shit to the tournament with you with your little sandwich in and shit.
Because I had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one.
Oh man, I had them all. I had Silverhawks, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers,
Wow.
Thundercats, G.I. Joe.
Mine was X-Men.
That's yeah.
Little 90s animated X-Men.
So good.
Good one, Wyatt.
Yep. Classic. Well, now I want this lunchbox. GW, again, these are for free. These are free all the time. We just throw these ideas at you.
we'll be your.
I feel like Mike Haspel, like 7 years ago, said you needed to have like windbreakers, keychains, plushies, fucking toys. He said that shit when he went to Warhammer World, and he was so
and they didn't have nothing.
ashamed of the level you were bringing. And he was like, what are you guys doing? And here you are, like a decade later, doing some shit he said to do a decade ago. Just listen to it.
Can you like imagine if they had like a Marlboro rewards program for buying GW?
They did.
Marble Miles.
Yeah,
I had the
Skulls.
duffel. I had 2 duffels.
Yeah, dude. Like you had to buy like a preposterous amount of cigarettes to get like the windbreaker and stuff. And it's just like people don't care. Like if you just made it where it's like you have to spend like $2,000 on GW minis, you can have this dope windbreaker. Like people would buy it like in a weekend.
Dude, like you guys, I don't know if you remember that Skulls program, but you could get a Bane blade, and back then it was resin, and it was a lot of money.
So they did have a Marble Miles program?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was for like models and like
it's got to be
model.
It's got to be for some exclusive crazy shit.
Yeah. It's got to be like
But they were all exclusive.
They always
No. Like, see, it's a cigarette company, and I could win a windbreaker or a duffel bag or a canoe.
Oh yeah, they didn't have none of that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's going to be like
it wasn't more cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? I could buy those.
you know, if you just
Right.
give away the art case, like it destroys the value of the art
Yeah.
case. But if you could only get the art case by being like a baller,
Yeah,
and
you can't buy it.
spending
It's
on
not for
shit-
sale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it exclusive. Yes.
Well, I mean, I know they've done in the past where if you go to the GW store and you spend X amount of dollars, you get like things.
Like, I want
They
them to
got me
walk to
that
the
way
back
one
and
time.
pull out a like full on like cylindrical duffel bag with a sling. That's just like the sickest 40K shit with rivets and shit on it and all this stuff. And be like, you can't buy this, even though I know you'd give me your whole bank account for it. You have to earn this. My scavenging, discarded packs of Marlboro cigarettes on the side of the highway for 3 years. Which is like how I ended up with 2 Marlboro duffel bags. So, yeah. Come on. If I can get on our level. That's free. GW, that's free. Send us an NDA. Anyway, Rob, did you think of the thing you forgot of?
No, I don't know what it is. It's too late.
Let's slide on over to our meat potatoes. We got 5 people in the show. We got 4 out of 5 members of the Vegas team tournament Long War crew. Mike Haspel, he was planning on showing up, but he's actually painting models like right now, right? So we do have Zach. We had Demeki. Turn it over to our most responsible members to walk you through some of the stuff, Mr. Wyatt and Mr. Zach.
Yeah.
Responsible members. Oh my.
Yeah. So we recently played in the California Team Championship, was supposed to have the same comp, but did not. So we did a lot of talking at the California teams about like what we wanted to do for Vegas teams. And I don't think any of us wanted to do something that was quote unquote like meta, right? Like there are armies that are meta that have a big toolkit, right? Which is sometimes what you want in a team comp. Like sometimes you want to do like something kind of control-y, something kind of elite, something kind of super killy, something that's really tough to have a wide array on your team. Because part of the mini game of team tournaments is the trying to get favorable matchups for your players on tables that are good for their army, right? Because there's 5 tables. I think it's 2 light terrain tables and 3 heavy terrain tables. It could be vice versa. But it's a fun mini game. That's like part of the fun of team tournaments. So you get to play with your boys. You get to do lists that are sometimes a little wacky because it's not the same meta as a 1v1 major GT, right? And almost instantly what we gravitated towards was like, we want to do some wacky shit that's like tough for people to deal with. So maybe like some off meta type things. And Zach, multiple people have already messaged me that's like, I love Zach's list. It's so wild. Like it's pretty crazy. So like without getting too far into like baseball stats, like what's your list like? What are you playing?
Yeah. So I went with Sisters still. Just probably would have done Chaos Knights, but Sisters are around and I think they're cool. And anyways, we're going to go with Valor's Heart for various reasons, just a lot of it being helps with indirect fire, a couple things, but it's only five Battle Sister squads with that, right? And then the dubbed the Fridge Canoness, who has transhuman all the time. She heals every command phase and gets healed every time she doesn't have to faith with a Blessed Blade for a little 80-point monster. And then Morin Vol has to come. She's pound for pound, probably the best model in the game right now, I think.
Oh yeah, she's super good.
And then with her are 24 Penitent Engine chassis.
Wait. How many?
24.
I'm going to need you to walk me through this because, like,
that's an uncomfortable amount.
Penitent Engines, we're talking like the Wily Priest guy and like a Dreadnought, like Kill a Can, like chassis, right? Yeah. That's like a Dreadnought, right? Like almost.
Yeah, that model's sick. You know, it's these zealot girls being tortured on these things and atoning for their sins. I don't know. It's pretty metal though. When I was looking at the model and then
and so I guess they have a new model for it because I'm still thinking of the ones that you can kill somebody with in a sack.
There's a new plastic kit.
Yeah, new plastic kit. And so when I was making this list, you kind of go, again, not baseball stats here, but you go in these weird ways, right? Like what Wyatt was talking about.
What base size are they on, real quick?
50s.
They're on 50s. I'm looking at them right now. Damn, they're sick. Yeah. So you got 24 of these?
Yeah. So, one unit, it can contain 4. So, and when I say Penitent Engine chassis, you have 12 Penitent Engines and 12 Mortifiers. And you just split it up. I chose the Mortifiers to be the bolters because they have 3s to hit basically. And I gave them the flails. And the actual Penitent Engines are the flamers with the saws. So they're kind of kooky because for a couple reasons, right?
So yeah, so there's flails and saws and heavy bolters.
Yeah, and then flamers, the Midastorm flamers was string 6 flamers. And there's a couple of things for this, right? There's it's 120 wounds of toughness 5 at 5 wounds apiece. No invuln, but a 4+ armor save, and then a 5 with Filament Pain. And when you think about math in this, right? Man, no baseball stats, really. That is, we'll just say on average, that's a very, very lame thing to try to kill.
Well, yeah, like a 4-up. Well, first off, the 5-up Filament Pain is essentially a retroactive 5-up Immortal, right? So right at the gate, all instances of damage can be negated by a 5, right? Yep. And there's a sliding scale, right? If it's 1 damage, 1 for 1. If it's a 3 damage, then fine. It's not as good as the initial 5 that blocks all damage, but it kind of averages out between that 1 to 3 damage range. And the fact that there still is a save that they have to bypass, which I'm sure you're going to be able to use cover to your advantage and get that 4 to a 3 in a lot of situations. And there's probably other things you're doing, but if they're making you roll even a 5 into a 5, that maths out to similar to 3 up with vulnerable stats, like 3.5 to almost 4.
Yeah, and then they're multi-wound models with Feel No Pain, which can really mess up.
Yeah, so the multi-wound difficulty, the multi-damage difficulty against something like that can really screw up damage from range for that. It's like multi-wound, like what I was talking about. And there's actually a lot in that. Like I think we've all been there, right? If you get like a real fatty last cannon come through, and you roll a 5 and you're like, oh, odds are you're not going to kill this thing from that last cannon. And you might only have like 9 last cannon shots, right? Then you have to waste 1 more and kind of go through that, right? So it's tough. The other couple of things that are involved that are nice are penitent engines can run in charge, which is great for turn 2, turn 3. And mortifiers can fight when they die on a 4-up, which is awesome.
That's cool.
The mortifiers hit on 3s. They all have zealot, so they all reroll hits in combat. Saws strength 8 -4 T flat. I mean, they just kind of beef, right?
I mean, these guys fuck.
Hey, how many heavy bolter shots are coming out of a squad?
So they have 2 heavy bolters, so 6 per model, so 24.
Yeah, that's literally double the number of shots of 2 damage than 1.
Yeah, 6 per model, 6 times 4, 12, 24.
So your 1 unit of mortifiers, of which you have 3, has twice the number of 2 damage shots as my Lord of Skulls.
Yeah.
Both of my Lord of Skulls equal out to 24 2 damage shots.
Yeah. And so they're considered vehicles. They still have a nice block for Morven. So I mean, Morven's going to go with them, right? And those kinds of things. They don't explode when they die either, which is nice to get the added protection. There's a lot of nuances with that too, right? That's just kind of these weird, kind of nice to haves. The bad parts, they can't produce miracle dice. They don't get sacred rights. A couple other things in there that you don't get with a typical Adeptus Sororitas, but they are Adeptus Storm. So there's a couple strats in there that help against I feel other things. They can't do like the Deny the Witch, but that's why you bring the other sisters, right? So there's a couple trades, but in general, the biggest thing is going to be the shock of like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And how do I do it? And Knights were kind of like this too, where it's like if you have a bad turn 3 and you roll poorly or you play poorly, you might just lose the game, right? And a lot of my lists are built like that, to be honest. Like I bank on someone having a bad turn and you can kind of topple over that. Flip side is, I don't know, I could roll awful and completely get tabled too. But
yeah. Well, the wild thing is like you have 24 of these, right? And as Kenny likes to tell people, quantity is its own form of quality.
Yeah.
And then you have 4 or 5 Sisters of Battle squads to do all sorts of 9th edition play for points kind of stuff.
Shenanigans, yeah. Yeah, they're so we have 5, and they're Valor's Heart, which is kind of memey, I guess, right now. But in general, if I think about the team tournament, right, and that we're playing in, they are on AP 1 or 2. You get -1 AP on that. This is player place terrain. Great. I'll start placing terrain where they can always be in cover, and they're just going to sit there the entire game. Why not, right? And I think that's a big part that goes into this team tournament as well, especially when it's selecting tables, right? Do we select tables knowing the train is going to be there? Or is it blank already? How does that work? Like that's a different dynamic.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because there is going to be heavier and lighter tables, which will probably just be number of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with player optimized terrain, it's kind of moot if you're thinking about it this far in advance, like Zach has. He's got 5 actionable units, the ability to curate even a light table's worth of terrain to his advantage. So it's a wily ass fucking list for a special type of tournament, which I love.
Yeah, and to be honest, these team tournaments I think are, in my opinion, better than the one-on-one, the grand tournaments. I mean, this is where you get creative and kooky and different kind of skill probably comes into play, especially with list building. But I think the typical things are sound, and it'll be interesting. I don't. From when I was looking through the list, I don't think I saw anything like it, which is kind of the point, right? What do you? What can you bring that no one's seen, that no one really knows how to deal with?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of this. Is like, yeah, like I would be unsurprised if like a really good team ended up winning this with very meta armies, just because they're so good. Like, shout out to Team Zero Comp that won the Dice Hammer California teams. Aside from like the one kind of like dark horse list they had, which was Custodes, which are still super, brick house,
and did very well. By the way, that was very well.
They had very meta armies, and like that can be part of it, and then the other part of it can be sort of this kind of wily stuff that we're doing, which I think is going to be more fun. Like,
so it's definitely our style. Like, definitely.
Yeah.
And Zach, coming in with the crazy 24, chassis list. That's wily as fuck, right?
It started where I was really hype on the Paragon battle suits.
Yeah.
And then you were like, Paragon's battle suits suck. And then you were like, well, what about penitent engines? And I was like, well, how many could we do? And you're like 24. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, we're fucking doing that. It's like discussion over. We're doing that.
Yeah, this has to happen.
Just looking at stat lines and just doing math, honestly. And I was like, what can we do?
They seem to have like a bucket of special rules too, like a page of special rules. I love that. Like,
yeah. And they got some cool interactions. But, Kenny, we did this on the one that we did last year, right? I brought that Oracle list where it's like guaranteed 24 points.
We did the same kind of math, and you did it. You fucking delivered on the guarantee.
And that's where these things, when we talk about team captain and doing pairings, if if I can tell you mathematically this is what's going to happen most of the time.
And you have 6 chances to deliver on that average.
Right. And then Wyatt can be like, oh, great. So I need Zach with that to handle this night list because no one else can, or no one's going to max that against that list, right? And that's where winning this becomes both difficult to win the actual match in general, not just the thing, but to know for the captain to know another person's list and what it's going to do, and keeping that simple, it has a lot of value.
It does. I love that the redundancy built into this. Like, it's like the versatility of a normal list it's like divided amongst the team, and we get to put those armies and those elements of that versatility in the right place. And so, like, obviously this is a wily list, but like the wiliness doesn't end there. I mean, like, Demeki over here has reforged his list, right? Yeah. So Demeki took my spot last time. You guys remember I busted my back last second, and things worked out. And Wyatt was able to, he was already down at the Dice Check Beats Lab. I was able to hand off and Demeki had to play my list, right? Because we didn't want another yellow card for changing lists. We didn't take a yellow card for changing players, right? So he had to play my list, a list he was fully unfamiliar with, and a list that is not as optimized at actionable units. And he still came in through. You guys did really well. Demeki held it down, but Demeki saw something at that event. You guys started talking about it instantly, and he did it. What is that? Yes. What is that, Demeki?
All right. So I ran up against 9 Chronos Drukhari list, and it melted Morty on turn 1. I also put Morty on the line. That was a huge mistake. But it melted Morty, and it spanked me. So, like, I went back and I was like,
well, one of the things about it, right, that intrigued you was you're like, wait, I thought Dark Tetramenters didn't do this anymore.
Exactly.
It was like, no. It said liquefiers don't do this anymore.
Liquefier guns.
And you saw that and you were like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yes. Seeing that dude's army on the table, it immediately made me happy, because one of the funnest times I had in competition in 8th edition was running like 20 grotesque, 30 grotesque, Prophets of Pain Drukhari lists.
Yep.
And you can't really do that anymore.
I mean, there was like a solid 8 months where that was our life. Like, just talking about that list.
Yes. Yeah. Bringing it back to the 9 Chronos and just having all of these, like, 9 Chronos is like, 9 is a lot.
I mean, think about 9 is a lot of anything.
Yep. A lot of anything. Right, because there's three in a unit. They have 7 wounds apiece. They're T6 with a homunculus. They're T7.
Does the homunculus affect non-core units? I thought his toughness bubble was.
They are core. They are core.
Fucking core?
Yes.
They're
They
core.
are
So
core.
think about this. So just to like get a visual on how like it's 3 60 millimeter flying bases with these guys. Each one of them is T7.
They had the fly keyword, bucket of
each
rules.
one of them has 7 wounds. So it's like each unit of this is basically a T7 Lord of Skulls that flies.
Yep.
Jeez.
So I like that equation.
12-inch flamer and an 18-inch gun.
Yeah, so it's a blast D6 shots. It's a D6 auto hit shot, right? They both have the siphon ability, so when they roll 6s, it's an extra damage, plus Dark Note Technomancer is extra damage. So you're basically, anytime you roll a 6, it's 3 damage off of like, and +1 to wound. So like the math on that damage output is preposterous when they're in their third range. And they move, 8 inches, and they can advance and still shoot the flamer. So like you're not going to get away from them as fast as you think you are. Like, and they fly, fuck out of here. They're core. And so isn't there like can't the homunculus take like a warlord trait that just automatically heals one of them D3 wounds a turn? Or 3 wounds a turn automatically?
So it's 3. Yeah, it's 3. And I mean
exactly where you're shaking his head.
that's the whole point too. I mean, it's
so like you're like
fighting-
self-repairing any errant like fucking mortal wound you took from the blast weapon, never from the not from the free hits assault one, but like so you're fixing yourself. You're like, oh, I just did 5 wounds to 1, and you're like, I healed 3 of them automatically, and we're all to this. That's ridiculous synergy, and it's 9 of them, dude.
Yes,
24 pennant engines set up on. Just imagine this: 24 pennant engines on this table. 9 Chronoses on this table. What else is in your list though? Like what actionable units do you have?
So we got 2 5-man units of Incubi. We have 15 witches. One of the 5-man units of witches is the brides, the upgraded brides.
Yeah.
We've got Kabbalite Trueborn, 10 of those. And
damn, you have like a fucking ridiculous amount of little harassing ass fucking action units.
Oh yeah, 4 raiders. 4 raiders. Yeah, 4 raiders.
That's what you get with Drukhari and Sisters. It's like you can have this preposterous stuff and then like basically a whole army to back it up. Like it's crazy.
With
the
6
fact that I
reavers
get 5
too.
battle sister squads is quite astounding, to be honest. Like the fact that I can do all that and then get 5 squads to do
5 squads still, yeah.
I was like, oh, that's like the icing on the cake. If I could only get 3, I'm like not as assured, right? But the fact that I have 5 incidentals, weird stuff, sacrificial stuff. Yeah.
So we got Demeki after who is a veteran Death Guard player, said, I will build and paint a fucking 9 Chronos list for the next one.
Yep.
And he fucking
That's
did.
That's one of my favorite things to see in 40K, just in general, is when somebody is just like, that was so cool, I'm going to go do that. And then have that.
And again, so when people poo-poo the tournament scene and they're all like, tournament players are what's wrong with this hobby. Motherfucker, we drive the hobby. Mm-hmm. Like, we're the ones buying the models, building the models, and painting the whole armies. And we're the ones bringing them to stores, and you wanted to buy that same list and fucking doing it yourself. Like,
yeah. And not only did he do this, not like he didn't finish his last model like tonight. Like he's already had the army done and has been like getting reps in with it, so
like it's not like he's been done. He like pulled out his airbrush, fucking did all the stuff he's supposed to do, and he played his games with time to spare. Like that's incredible. Like that's incredible. And so that's not all, right? So we got 24 pennant engines, wily as fuck. Hit you with the 9 Chronos shenanigans just now. Dark Technomancer 9 Chronos shenanigans, another bucket of special rules. Preposterous. Wyatt's still coming back, and he's off the heels of a victory. He just won a local Rogue Trader tournament. Big news.
Just crushed out
he was able to replace one of his Death Guard scores, which is a big deal, and he's still currently by a narrow margin the number one
Chaos
Space
As of this
Marine
recording,
player.
I am number 1 Chaos Space Marine player globally. And so just like continuing, like people who may not know what this is. So it's like to create the visual, you have one table with Zach's list, 24 penitent engines and 5 sister squads to back it up. Then you have Demeki's army with the 9 penitent engines and the 4 raiders and all of the infantry squads to back it up. And then you look at my table, and then I'm sitting over here with these 2 giant mechas of
Lords of Skulls, which are large as hell.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we got 2 decimators, and decimators have come back.
They're also way bigger than a dreadnought. Like if you like, a lot of people think decimators are dreadnoughts. They're not. They're demon engines.
And then of course, like I 3D printed shoulder pads for mine, so they're like even like even more thick than the regular ones. And I've got Terminators, and I've got Chaos Space Marines, and I've got my buff characters. And then to round it out, we have like Kenny.
Yeah, wait, don't you have a Lord Discordant too?
Yeah, I mean like buff character. Like,
yeah, so that guy's another demon engine though. Like you have a girthy army that also is currently the number one Chaos Space Marine army in the world.
All of the worlds.
To be fair, whenever I play it, and I talk to people about it, like I am the first person to say that like the reason this works is not because I'm some genius. It's not because Chaos Space Marines are good. I'm still playing with shitty 1-wound Chaos Space Marines. It's because there are some objectively busted things with the 8th edition codex.
8th edition jank. You're taking advantage of it.
Right. And I'm playing the heck out of it because I know that when we get our new Chaos Space Marines decks, I will never be able to play this army again. It will not work. Like when they bring core and not core into our book, when they take away all my fun stratagems and demon synergies and stuff, like I have these big giant mechas and I'm playing.
I mean, it was already dope that you got to play them again because you went so hard on that.
Yeah.
And like getting those Lord of Skulls was like your Galactus story, pretty much like my Galactus, right?
I'm ashamed to admit.
And then you didn't get to do anything because of COVID, lockdowns, the edition changed. So you were like, that sucked. And then you did bring them back, and now you're number one Chaos Space Marine player. This shit is sick. So you got 3 preposterous lists on the table. Now I'm bringing you. I just wanted to drive that home part. So back to you. You were saying.
And Wyatt's list is very good. Like it's like I think it's one of the most refined lists that you would fight against.
It has so much cushion to it. Yeah. Like I am not a top 10 player in the ITC, right? I'm self-admittedly I'm not that good. My list does one thing. It smashes and it pushes across the table into you, and it does some nasty things. It's very similar to like a night list where I do have to play smart with Lord of Skulls. I can't just throw them away. I do have to understand the interactions between a Titanic model and terrain because that's a little bit difficult to do in this set of rules. But it just does what it do. And the difference between this list and the list that I played at Lone Star Open, which I also did well with, is I brought in the Decimators because like Kenny, we've had this long love affair with Decimators going back like 5-6 years. And for the longest time, they were just complete trash.
There was this moment when they were 160 points and you could take infinity of them, and I had 6 of them, baby. And it was good. And then
it was so good. But yeah, it's just like there was a problem I was presented with the other list, which was the proliferation of invulnerable saves that's going on in 40K right now. Like no matter who you look at, people got them, right? Like Drukhari, they're not that great, but a lot of their units have them. A lot of their characters are hard to interact with their invul saves, that sort of thing. Sisters have things like the Sacrosancts, right? And their characters. Space Marines have the Vanguard veterans. They have the Blade Guard veterans. Yeah. They have their like every fucking character has a 4-up invul save, right? The list goes on and on. But the Decimators are a unique solution to that problem in that they have the Soul Burners. And so I can have a Decimator behind a piece of obscuring terrain, and the entire focus is on the Lord of Skulls. And they can tank just about everything except 6 Laz Chickens from AdMech. I don't want to play those guys. But if you roll around the corner with Morven Vol and 10 Sacrosancts thinking that she's just going to do whatever she wants to do, you're wrong, because those Decimators will come out, instantly pick up all of those Sacrosancts, and then the Lord of Skulls are going to have a word with old Morven.
Hey, careful. She's a beast. She's a beast.
Yeah, she's a beast until she has to take 8d3 Soul Burner shots.
Sure. It's good. Yeah.
And I did make adjustments to my list since Demeki played it, reported how it performed, and then I did my due diligence and played in a Rogue Trader tournament with adjustments to the list, and then made further adjustments to the list, informed. So I've settled it more of a hybrid concept, right? Because what I set Demeki with was my demon engine. Like, it doesn't do actions. It does like grind them down.
It wasn't at least Demeki. Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun to play.
Yeah, I mean,
like, so the biggest thing about Kenny's list, if you don't know, is he runs Morty.
Yeah.
So this is a Death Guard Mortarion list, which is automatic, like big dick energy, and then it goes from there.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I sent him with. I sent you went off with my Demon Engine version, right? 2 blow drones. Or 2 Fetid Blow Drones with Blight Launchers, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 2 Defilers, Mortarion, Death Route Terminators, the Foul Blight Spawn, fucking Lord of Contagion. Like, it's, that list doesn't do actions. It does engage, grind them down, and you're praying for a good mission secondary, and doing things. Well, did not work out. I took your feedback from it, made modifications to it, and brought in some action units. Played it. Lost 2 games and tied 1 game at my local tournament scene. But we have also good players here who, like, Jeff Jew was there and everything. Like, it's like 20-man tournament. I know these guys. And so I learned a lot about it. I was able to keep the margin to about, like, my 2 losses were like 70 something to 80 something. Like, and so I was like, okay, I'm learning. It's all 6 objectives. It was like I was figuring things out, how to optimize things. And then in my 3rd game, lost Mortarion on turn 1 and fought my way to an 83-point tie with all the lessons I learned and what you guys were saying. Then I made further adjustments and I realized, like, things I did like and didn't like. And so I have more cultists than I've ever had before back in my Death Guard list, right? Because it's the cheapest thing to stuff in strategic reserve and throw down some, retrieve Octarian data. Like, it's ridiculous, right? I need that. I got the 2 Fetid Blight Drones. Fuck them. Got rid of them. But what I did was I upgraded them because they're already 140 points. I turned them back into Defilers. Right? Mm-hmm. The base ones. Because Defiler, fucking 14 wounds, man. Toughness 7. Has a lot of guns. And the thing I was missing was in those 6 objective missions where there's that midfield threat, I can go and clear it half the time, but I had no way to do anything with it. The Defilers move up and they fucking charge the motherfuckers on those midfields. They move 8 inches, bro. And they have like 5 attacks, man. Like, and D6, like, strike 8, neg 2, 3 flat damage shots, and like havoc launches, all this crazy shit, right? A lot of offense. And when you take them at just that stripped down 165 point price tag, like, they do that exact thing I want. It's like, I need something that hits the midfield, like with punching power, right? And so instead of 2 Blight Jones, like, back to Defilers, but my man Demeki sent me one, got my Greater Blight Drone. So he's in there for a very singular task, which we actually talked about the tactics today for Wyatt's future, possibly, of his list. A single Greater Blight Drone. Literally, it's for engage. It moves 14 fucking inches. That's the only thing I care about.
125 points. Like, it's such a great unit.
So, like, I don't care about the offense. Like, he does have offense, but, like, he's really, like, flying over here behind a wall and, like, engage, maybe hit an objective. So I still have that element, right? Still have 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. Still have my Death Route, so but I did move up to, I have more actionable units than I used to have. Mm-hmm. I have a thicker Death Route squad now. I actually did drop the Foul Blight Spawn, which is, like, made me nervous at first to drop them, but that's not the game I'm playing with this list. The game, like, because I found that deep striking, utterly unsupported Death Routes and in a completely other location, the Lord of Contagion is vastly superior game plan 9 out of 10 times. So the whole idea of this cluster of guys walking around with this deterrent aura, like, it doesn't play into that win. Like, there's other ways to deal with those threats, So
not fast enough, right? That's the biggest part. Like,
I mean, I made them do what they needed to do in both the games I lost, right? Like, I actually absorbed and destroyed the counter Grey Knight attack with the double Falchion squad. Handled it. Handled the Blade Guard squad. Did the 2 things that they were designed to do. Lost those games. Right? Played the game where I played it more Wyatt's way. Fought my way to a tie after losing Mortarion on turn 1. Like, and I was like, okay, this is better. This gets more points. This wins games. So, beefier squad. And I love that Lord of Contagion. It reminds you of your Canonist, man. He's got Hulk and Physique. And Glorious Reaper. The dude just 7 wounds, bro. Like, transhuman. -1 damage. He's just like, bro, he clutched that tie for me. Yeah. Like, he dropped in.
He's such a good addition to that list. Like, when I was playing him in my Mortarion list at Alamo GT, and it's like people, they hyper focus so much on Mortarion that they don't understand that, like, that dude will wade in and wipe half of your army just as easily as Mortarion will.
What's the name of that big hover tank that the Iron Hands love using sometimes?
Executioner.
Yeah, he absorbed an entire Executioner's firepower.
Yeah.
He was in dense terrain, -1 to hit, and he had a +1 to his cover save. And I had just dropped him in, hit this clutch charge, bounced out, and I was walking around this side of the table. I was going to take one of his raise the banners high objectives and clean objective and take it for myself. And he's like, I fucking can't. I have still 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. And he's like, I can't believe I'll fucking do this, but I have to shoot that guy. Because, like, he's going to just do it. You know, I'm going to do this to him. And he's like, all right, I'm going to shoot everything at him. Didn't kill him. The -1 they hit with the fucking +1 cover save and the -1 damage, and he had to wound me on 4s because the Hulk and physique. He's like,
rough.
I'm very upset right now.
Yep.
I was like, okay, I think I understand how this works now. And I still have Mortarion. So all that, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 2 Defilers, a Greater Blight Drone, fucking Mortarion, Death Shroud, fucking Deep Strike in there with fucking Lord of Contagion, 2 Cultist squads coming off the fucking Strategic Reserve, and still a squad of Plague Marines. So I took everything that Demeki taught me about the list, everything I learned in the last tournament, made the adjustments based on your guys' advice, and it still looks ridiculous on the table. When you envision what 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 2 Defilers, Mortarion, and a Greater Blight Drone look like on the table, surrounded by like 30 more infantry models.
They're not going to know what to do. They're going to look at it and they're going to be like, do I do Morty? Do I do the PBCs? Do I do the Defilers? Like,
that's
which
my
one do I
favorite
take care of
aspect of
first?
our entire team comp. It's just like, I can't wait for that first meeting with like the team captain of their team where they're just completely confounded with like what to do against our team. Kind of like, this guy's got a load of skulls, and then that dude's got 24 penitent engines, and then fucking Drukari and Mortarion list, and then like we haven't talked about Haspel stuff, but he's running like 4 Dread Knights and like all these interceptors and strike squads, and so it's like
he has the fucking best action army ever. Like
he's scheming too. I mean, he's got some real deep knowledge going on there now.
That many bodies with that kind of board presence, like people like the interceptors move. They just do it. They thug it out. They get there, right? He's got Gates of Affinities. He's got Deep Strikes. Literally everything in the army can go where the fuck it wants when it needs to do actions.
He's got a great codex. He's got really good faction secondaries to play with. He's got a ton
the psychic action fucking stupid fucking secondary that they have is so dirty.
That thing's busted. It's busted.
Because it's like raise the banners, right? It's like they can, and it's like Warp Charge 5, and you playing these. We're playing 3 6 objective missions on day 1. He's just gonna be like,
It's just such a great tool set to have. Because I mean, like, he can go into a lot of hard matchups for us that might be a little weird. Like, one of the things that I don't think any of us are prepared for, even though their codex is not that great, is a good player with a Thousand Suns army. Because Thousand Suns, it's not like a bad quote unquote codex, but it is one of those codexes where it's really hard to make it shine unless you're super good at 40K. Right. And so I feel totally fine sending Mike into the 1K Suns matchup purely because he's a very salty veteran Grey Knight player, and they have the Aegis. So all of that mortal wound shenanigans type stuff that 1K Suns can do, he's got a 5-0 feel no pain army wide, which is great. It's like he's going to be our shield against that type of stuff.
Yeah, I just played a Thousand Suns game last night against the new codex, and they definitely do a lot of mortal wounds still. Right? And they've got some spice stuff, like it's cool. But once you kill half the things, depending on how the list is made, then their characters are open and it gets rough. They also give up Abhor the Witch and like assassinate really easily, and so your points can just spike if you can kill it, and you can really do a lot of points against them, which is tough. But,
yeah, because even I play tested. I haven't play tested against Thousand Suns, but last weekend on stream I play tested against Matt's Grey Knights, and I mean it was close the whole way, and like so I even know that my list can hang against Grey Knights. I'm not like Wyatt's saying, I'm not 1,000% sure against Thousand Suns. That's the only what if.
Wily. Yeah, like the Cabal points is something that is hard to keep track of as like the opponent of a Thousand Suns player. So it's like you have to manage that, and you have to focus certain things. And then like their basic units are actually really solid. Like Scarab Cult Terminators are really solid, especially if you're playing something a little bit more basic like Space Marines, or Chaos Space Marines, or even things like Custodes. They have a lot of, 2-3 chunky damage. They have a lot of mortal wound type stuff. And then you have to manage that psychic phase, which is kind of hard to do with the way that their cabal points work, especially if they're good at managing that as a resource. But having the Grey Knight player there is great, because he's going to have a ton of denies. He's going to have the feel no pain against all that stuff. And he dishes out equal to more of what they can do. And they don't have that feel no pain.
It's going to be interesting to see what lists come out of this, because I saw Vessel's playing 1,000 Suns. So it'll be interesting to see if he recreates something pretty awesome or not.
I haven't seen his paper list, but I've seen his army. Like I've seen what he's playing, and it's definitely pretty cool. And obviously Jim is an exceptional 40K player, especially when it comes to Chaos and 1,000 Suns and that sort of thing. So like 1,000 Suns piloted by Jim Vessel, very scary. 1,000 Suns piloted by, Joe from the block, not so much.
I like Kenny from the block.
Kenny from the block?
Kenny from the block.
I'm trying to count up how many teams there are. I'm at like 30 already.
I know that one team is not going. I found that out today as I was getting some stuff.
I'm at 46 teams already.
There's probably
50. I'm already over 50. 50 to get to. We're like the 50th team. Holy shit.
It's nuts. There's a lot. I mean, the Art of War is going to be there too. I looked at what they're running. I think Nick Donavati's running Grey Knights. They're bringing Black Templar. They're bringing Sisters.
I think there's 58 teams, maybe 56.
It's a decent amount.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
I mean, that's almost 300 people. I mean, like, shit, if it was just a tournament with 58 people, you'd be like, that's a solid as fucking GT, right? But, like, this is literally...
That's on fire. Like, I hope more of these happen. These are great. These are fun. And it's great to see all the bigger known name teams come out for it, too. That means it'll probably get some more legitimate.
Yeah. It'll be nice, because, like, there's a lot of people that we normally only get to see at larger events like this in OVO that we finally get to see again.
Yeah.
Well,
I think London GT is this weekend, too.
Is it?
It is.
Damn.
It's going to be some big events.
There's going to be a lot of coverage,
There's
man.
a whole thing about the London GT.
And then the week after that is New Orleans.
Yep.
So the road show? The GW road show?
The GW one. Yeah.
Yeah. See you guys there.
Yeah. To get in, you just got to sign this NDA, dog.
Oh, yeah. I already signed it, dog. I got the email.
Yeah. It's no big deal. You don't even have to look at it. Just sign it.
I signed it.
Sign it, and please place all your models on this weight so we can make sure.
Little fucking scales of justice, little grains of sand on it and shit. But yeah, well, that's good coverage. So that's the most amount of people we've had on the show in a while, and the most amount of army lists we've gone over in a while. Feel like we've covered everything we set out to cover. Rob, what do you think?
I think Wyatt should take us out of here.
Rob?
Dang it. It's like I only have one job.
That was good. He reversed you, but then he just instantly reversed you back.
I gave you that Uno first card.
Goodness. All right. Well, we talked about it earlier. Our Long War Patreon's up. We're trying to get to 100 members over there. So check it out for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.